Well, that feels a lot better. On Thursday night, the Canucks headed into Dallas for a daunting matchup against a very good Stars team. In fact, a Stars team who was one of two undefeated teams going into today. Canucks went into the game with a 1-2 record, which is coming off the heels of two really bad games played against Edmonton and St. Louis. And I know it's early in the season, but it feels like there's a big difference between 1-3 and 2-2. So I really wanted this one. And the first period did not do a whole lot for my confidence. Under 5 minutes in, face off in the Canucks zone, the Stars win it, get it down low to Maverick Bourque, who looks into the middle to see if any pass was open. And lucky for him, there was. To Elias Pettersson, who deflected the puck in past Demko to make it 1-0 Stars. Now, it's not really particularly completely Pettersson's fault. I mean, yeah, he definitely could have made a better defensive play, but he still had the right idea, at least. Very poor execution. So it was 1-0 for the Stars. That didn't last too long because later in the period, the Stars found themselves on the power play. Hintz streaked in, dropped it to Robertson, who found Rantanen all alone on the other side of the ice. Rantanen stepped in towards Demko and sniped one home to make it 2-0, doubling Dallas's lead. Now, I don't know what was said during intermission to the Canucks, but whatever it was really worked. Because the Canucks really started to lock in. And it all started in the defensive zone. Stars had some pressure going, but Evander Kane eventually picked up the puck and flung it down the ice, and I'm thinking, why did he do that? Where is that going to end up? But fortunately, it bounces right past Harley onto the stick of Philip Hedl, who streaks in for the breakaway and tucks it home past DeSmith. What a great pass by Kane. That is something that we really need to see more of from him. We need that offensive ability from Kane, and that pass was glorious. Great finish by Hedl, too. A little bit after, the Canucks found themselves on the power play, a power play which hadn't scored a goal yet in any of their first 3 games, but they were looking decent in the preseason and obviously have the talent to get it done. And that's just what they did here. 2 minutes after the Philip Hedl goal, Brock Besser tipped in a pass from Quinn Hughes, and it was 2-2, tied up just like that. But the tie game really did not last long, because once again, we got a dime. Tyler Myers saw Max Sasson on the right side of the ice and banked it off the boards to him. And Sasson's just so fast, they were not going to catch up to him. So he was in all alone on DeSmith, and much like Philip Hedl, made no mistake, tucked it in, and the Canucks lead. But they weren't done there for the second. Connor Garland had been flying all second period. He had a ton of chances, one where he tried to bank it off to Smith, and that almost worked. One where he tried a backhanded wraparound, and that went right along the goal line. And it just seemed like one of those games where Garland's inevitably going to get on the board. And that's just what he did. He picked off a terrible pass attempt, dangled right past Alex Petrovic and Casey DeSmith at the same time, and had the whole net to slide one in on the backhand. Quite an eventful second period, I would say, and that meant that the Canucks were leading 4-2. In the third period, it wasn't exactly clean, but they were shutting it down quite well, to the point where with just over 2 minutes left, it was still a 4-2 game. But Tyler Myers took a pretty bad interference penalty, and the Stars pulled the goalie, so it was 6-on-4. And the Stars were able to add their third goal of the night on a nice shot from Wyatt Johnston. And with the flashbacks to what happened last time the Canucks were in Dallas, you kind of start wondering, are we going to get paid back for what we did? Luckily, the Canucks found themselves with a chance on the empty net up by 1, which forced Miro Heiskanen to trip Evander Kane, leading to the Canucks power play. And the Stars tried to pull their goalie to make it 5-on-5 at least and have a chance at coming back and tying it. But they decided to pull their goalie when Quinn Hughes had the puck and all sorts of time in his own zone. And I think his eyes actually lit up seeing no goalie in net and a whole lane to shoot the puck. I mean, he's one of the best passers in the league. We know that his accuracy is pinpoint. He's going to hit that, and that's exactly what he did. And luckily, there were no late-game theatrics like there were last time. Nothing else really happened in the last minute, and Canucks were fine, and they won 5-3, handing Dallas their first loss of the season. There was a lot of talk on Twitter about what Adam Foote did with the lines ahead of this game. A lot of people did not like what was happening, and I mean, there were some things that stood out as kind of odd. You know, Drew O'Connor on the first line, that was a bit weird. But I felt like I understood it all. DeBrusk, Pettersson, Besser was not working at all. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you would know that I anticipated that because none of them really drive the play well enough. None of them are fast enough. I didn't expect them to work together. I liked the idea of Garland on the line with Pettersson because Garland gets into the dirty areas. And I like the idea of Drew O'Connor on the line with Connor Garland because they have chemistry from the World Championships. So while O'Connor, Pettersson, Garland isn't really a first line, I understand it as a line in general. And besides that one own goal that Pettersson had, which is fine because we won anyway, he did play pretty well. He was trying really hard. He had a great block late in the game. O'Connor wasn't all that great, but he was still hard on the forecheck, and that's what we need for someone on a line with Pettersson. Garland was obviously incredible, especially in that second period. So many chances, and he was penalty killing. Probably our best forward in that game. That second line of DeBrusk, Hedel, Besser, I think works a lot better than DeBrusk, Pettersson, Besser, because Hedel's a lot faster than Pettersson. He can drive the play for Besser and DeBrusk. The third line going into this game was Kane, Ratu, Sherwood, and that's a heavy-hitting line. I mean, Kane and Sherwood obviously are terrifying for the opposition to go up against, but even Ratu can throw around the body. In that fourth line, I was so excited to see. Baines, Sasson, Carlson dominated the AHL last year. I didn't think it would only take 4 games for them to get a look together in the NHL, but I'm happy they did because they were all flying today. They had some really good shifts even when the rest of the Canucks weren't playing their best hockey. The lines were in a blender, so these lines didn't stay exactly the same all throughout the game. I mean, Hedel's goal came from an assist by Kane. But overall, I mean, I like all of those lines. I think they all make sense. I think the play styles on those lines all work together decently, and I think it could work, and it worked today. I mean, you score 5 goals, you're definitely not going to switch up the lines next game, so I didn't understand why everybody was so mad about that. Like, the lines that we had were not working. We played some terrible offensive games against St. Louis and Edmonton. We weren't getting enough shots. We weren't getting enough chances. It just looked so bad, and today, they looked so good. Besides that little bit in the first, you know. Defensively, they were pretty good too. I mean, there were a couple of lapses. It wasn't entirely clean. There was the time where 3 Canucks went behind the net, leaving the front of the net wide open, and just got lucky that there was a missed shot. But they clearly did enough. I mean, 3 goals against is probably around the highest you want to go, but they still did pretty well. And Demko, again, was a stone wall. A brick wall. He was a wall. It doesn't matter what type of wall. He was a wall. The big thing from this game is that we finally got some good offense out of Quinn Hughes. Going into this game, Quinn Hughes had 1 assist, no goals through 3 games. In this game, he got a goal and an assist, and yes, that goal was on an empty net, but you still take it. Quinn looked great in this game. I mean, he was already looking decent enough in those other games, but this time he really looked like Quinn Hughes. His skating was so crispy. He was shooting the puck, he was making plays, he looked like Quinn Hughes again, and that is what we need. So to get him going like that, now up to 3 points in 4 games, we're back to our regular scheduled programs. And I mean, Pettersson got on the board too. Got an assist on that power play goal. He might not be too happy with his performance today, but at least he got something out of it. He did play well. And analytically, he has been good. We need him to put up points, though. Currently 2 points in 4 games. Not quite enough. But he just needs to build off of this, needs to get the momentum going. Hopefully his confidence is up a little bit. I mean, scoring that own goal couldn't have helped, but the rest of the game he played very well, and hopefully that confidence carries into the next game. Hronik also added 2 points, which is nice to see. I mean, he needs to be going as well, and he hasn't been having a great start to the season until this game, so that's big. He has to be our second best defenseman. He has to play like a second best defenseman, and today he did. He had a very key shot block too. He was good on both ends of the ice. Really, I don't feel like I have anyone to particularly complain about today. I feel like they all did their part. Other than in the first. I mean, that first was a little bit weird, but it's okay because it was the start of the game and that's fine. That second period was great, and that's what we need to do a lot more of. Now, I'm going to talk about analytics just for a second, because coming into this game, the Canucks had the worst expected goals percentage of any team in the league. And that includes Buffalo, and that's Buffalo before they scored a bunch against Ottawa. That's Buffalo when they had 2 goals in 3 games. Vancouver's expected goal percentage was lower than that. And even today, I mean, Dallas won that battle, but we still got a good amount of chances. That's what we weren't doing, and that's why we were so low on that list, because Edmonton and St. Louis, we didn't get good chances. The goal that Besser scored against Edmonton wasn't even that good of a chance. That it probably should have been saved. The goals against St. Louis were fortunate. I mean, great plays by Sherwood. I'm not taking away from Sherwood, but it was fortunate that the puck was just lying in the middle of the ice for him. It was fortunate that the bounce got through to him so he could shoot it home. They didn't really create a whole lot in that game either. But in this game, they were creating a lot. And a lot of that was Garland. And I mean, Pedersen added something there. That fourth line, the Abbey line, was great. They were pressuring. They looked like they were flying. And in terms of expected goals for percentage, they were the top 3 players in this game. So it seems like that chemistry has carried over to the NHL, I want to say. And I think that was a big thing about the lines too. The way that they formed it, it looked like they were aiming more for chemistry, because that's something the Canucks were not showing before this game. And the chemistry worked. I mean, that Abbey line has basically Sedinary chemistry. Okay, maybe not that level. Maybe not quite that level, but they have great chemistry. O'Connor, Garland, they have chemistry. Hedel and Besser played together a couple times last year. Sherwood and Ratu look good together. They looked for chemistry, and that's what they got. And look how far the chemistry got us. 5 goals. We beat Dallas. So that's a big win for the team. Beating the Stars, the previously undefeated Stars, who are a very good team, even if they're missing Duchesne and Ben. Even if they started Casey DeSmith again, which, like, it's disrespectful. I mean, come on. We're bad. We're not that bad. We're kind of not good. I don't know. Surely there are worse teams that you can start your backup against instead of us. Maybe next time Ottinger will be in net. If I see Casey DeSmith in the crease for them again after we destroyed them in April and after we scored 4 on him today, I'm going to lose it. They better respect us. I want to see Ottinger in that net. I don't care if we have a good chance against DeSmith. I want to be respected. Vancouver's next game is against Chicago, which is Friday night, so second end of a back-to-back. And while it might sound like a treat to play against Chicago, they did just curb stomp the Blues 8-3. And remember, the Blues beat us 5-2, so it may not exactly be a gimme, but it should be one that they win. I am expecting a win, because if I were expecting anything else, then that's kind of sad. And hopefully they get it. Hopefully they can improve to 3-2, be over 500, really start going in the right direction. After those 2 really bad games, I mean, I said it, I didn't like those games, I didn't like those losses, but it was early, and it's still early, and they still have the chance to get off to the right foot. Hopefully they win tomorrow. I really like the sound of 3-2 more than I like the sound of 2-3. But the important thing for right now is that I like the sound of 2-2 a lot more than 1-3. So that'll do it from me. What did you think of this game? I'll be right back at it again tomorrow, so won't take long to hear from me. Man, I love playing in Dallas, and I hope that saying that doesn't come back to bite me, but it's been fun. Okay,